All right, so let's take you straight to Pretoria now on this developing story. That's where we find the city's manager briefing the media. In fact, Selby Bukaba is the spokesperson for the city of Tshwane, and as you can see, he's preparing to brief the media about the status of Dr. Murunwa Makwarela following the fake rehabilitation certificate and, of course, his decision to resign as mayor. Let's take you live to Pretoria.
Okay, sorry, I need the statement.
All right, so that is Selby Bukaba, who speaks on behalf of the city of Tshwane. All right, he started now. Let's take a listen.
The city of Tshwane, the city manager would have loved to speak to you. Unfortunately, it's unavailable. But I just need to appraise you on the latest developments. The city manager, Mr. Johan Medler, has received and accepted the resignation letter from Councillor Makwarela as the executive mayor of Tshwane. The resignation is with immediate effect. The resignation was as a result of the dispute that Dr. Makwarela has been embroiled in with the city of Tshwane over the sequestration order against him in 2016. And as is public knowledge now that the city manager did ask him to furnish him with a rehabilitation certificate, which he had claimed that he was in possession of. City manager gave him an ultimatum to furnish him with the rehabilitation order on Tuesday, the 7th of March at 10 o'clock, and Dr. Makwarela was unable to do that. Fast forward to yesterday, the 9th, in the morning, Dr. Makwarela favored the city manager with a document which appeared to be a rehabilitation order. The city manager then received further information upon receipt of that rehabilitation order from Dr. Makwarela. He also, upon receipt of various information pertaining to the authenticity of that letter, instructed legal services to conduct an investigation into various aspects of that rehabilitation order. And we now know that the Office of the Chief Justice has confirmed in writing that that office never, or rather the office of Judge Musa in the Pretoria Division, never on the 7th of February 2018 issued such an order. Therefore, the rehabilitation order that Dr. Makwarela sent to the city of Tshwane, or to the city manager specifically, is fake. The city manager has since written to the Gauteng Provincial Electoral Officer informing him of a casual vacancy in the city of Tshwane for the PR councillor for Congress of the People, or COPE, and COPE knows what to do, that they have 21 days within which to engage with the IEC and give them the replacement, the name of the replacement for Dr. Makwarela. On Monday, the 13th of March, the city manager has convened a council meeting for the purpose of the election of the speaker. The city manager is hopeful that after the election of the speaker on Monday, the speaker will move with speed and convene a council meeting for the purpose of the election of the executive mayor, who in turn will appoint his mayoral committee. We hope that all of these processes will be concluded by next week so that the city can return to stability. There are so many outstanding and long overdue reports that have to serve at council that require council approval. Thank you. Yes.
My name is Mbali Kakani from Newzroom Afrika. We've just come from the Brooklyn police station. Multi-party coalition says the same thing, that that letter for rehabilitation was fake, so they were laying charges. What steps will you be taking as the city to hold Mr. Makwarela accountable for what he has done? Thank you.
The city manager is engaged in a process now with legal advisors, and on Monday we will be able to announce the way forward. But all those issues that we are raising are issues that are part of a package of issues that the city manager is considering based on the legal advice that we are going to receive. There are two issues here. The one issue is the disqualification of Dr. Makwarela. That Dr. Makwarela was not supposed to be a councillor on the 6th of November 2021. The second issue has to do with whether or not are we going to claim all the monies that we had paid to Dr. Makwarela when he was an ordinary councillor, and also when he was elected speaker. I think it was on the 20th of January 2022. So all of those issues will form part of a bouquet of issues that city manager is seized with, together with legal services. Yes.
Treaty Jones from ENCA. We saw that in that communique from the Registrar's office that matters be referred to the Hawks. Is the city manager also going to be subject to the process to provide information to the Hawks? Maybe secondly, are you now going to introduce stringent measures in terms of vetting councillors and those who may be elected into the mayoral office as well?
Like I said on your first question, that the city manager is engaging with legal services, so that matter we will announce on Monday. So the city manager is seized with that issue of whether or not there will be issues of criminal charges. So on Monday we will be able to come back to you. The issue of vetting, and this is a grey area, and I think it's important that we put this on the record. When councillors are elected, it is a process between the political party to which that councillor belongs and the IEC. The city is not involved at all. It is the IEC that prepares the ballot. It is the IEC that gives the councillors the form to complete. After the form is completed, it doesn't come to the city. The form goes to the IEC. So the city only gets involved after the fact. So processes prior to the election is a process between a political party and the IEC, and the city doesn't get involved. So it means that if the city were to get involved, the city can only get involved after the fact, after the councillor had been elected into council. So we don't have the wherewithal to verify the credentials of councillors because we are not involved in that process altogether.
Patricia Fasahi from the SABC. Dr. Makwarela has been the council speaker for over a year now. There are a lot of strategic decisions that were taken under his watch in council that, of course, form part of the affairs of the city of Tshwane, the actual business of the day. What happens to some of the decisions that were taken under his watch that he approved as Speaker of Council? What happens now? Could those decisions perhaps be taken for review? Because technically he was never supposed to be in council.
Yeah. The city manager, as I'm talking to you, is in a meeting with legal advisors, and they're looking at all the issues and what are the implications of this based on the decisions that Dr. Makwarela would have taken, including, by the way, the appointment of the city manager, because it was Dr. Makwarela who presided over that. So it's not only that. There are lots of issues starting from 20 January 2022. So legal advice will then provide us with way forward on how we are going to deal with these issues. If it means we have to go to court and get the judge to give a waiver or some kind of a decision to say that those issues, if they were to be reopened, it would lead to further instability of the city. And there's precedence over these things. there was the NDPP at the time, you remember Mr. Menzi Simelane, and court ruled that those decisions are not going to be overturned. So imagine if those decisions or resolutions of council were to be overturned, that the city will not be able to function. But legal services, or rather council, and in this instance it's not only about attorneys, the senior council, top silk, that we are engaging and advising the city manager on this one. So on Monday we should be in a position to give you feedback on the way forward regarding all these issues. Is that the follow-up, Pat?
Yes.
Okay.
What is the city planning to do to perhaps, from a credibility and integrity point of view, to ensure that in future this does not happen? Of course, we understand that there is the administrative part and there is the politicians, but the politicians or the actions of the politicians seems to compromise brand city of Tshwane. So what is the municipality going to do to make sure that such situations where someone who was not properly vetted does not lead and get involved in strategic decisions moving forward?
Look, you know, we are now focused on Tshwane, but I think this issue is not only pervasive to Tshwane, because you've got, what, 257 municipalities across the country. So all the municipalities would be impacted by this. Do the municipalities do the vetting? All the 257 municipalities? I doubt it. I don't think they have that capacity. But the issue of Dr. Makwarela, of course, has opened us up to other avenues as to, you know, how do we prevent a recurrence of this matter. So certainly something that as the city will have to look into, because the IEC has said this is a matter between IEC, or rather between the city and COGTA. And we don't understand, you know, there's a gray area there. But it's an issue that we'll have to review and engage with COGTA and IEC about, so that, you know, we don't experience a recurrence of this matter.
Maybe just to follow up as well, I mean, you're the capital city, Mr. Salvi. Was this embarrassing for the city?
Of course it was embarrassing. And Brand Tshwane has taken a hammering. We cannot run away from that. But not only this, all these things that have happened leading up to the situation of today, where there is a mayor, there is no mayor, there is the resignation of Councillor Randall Williams, and the resignation is effective or not effective, and it's invalid, and a week later we come back and change. So all of these things, they point to instability in the institution, and they have severely damaged the Tshwane brand. And we are hoping that the next administration will be able to restore the image of the city, and we become a capital city, and we live up to our motto of igniting excellence.
And just about, are you worried about the people's service delivery, in fact?
Service delivery, we are worried, but for now, service delivery has not been impacted by these developments. After the resignation of Councillor Randall Williams, the city manager convened a meeting with senior officials and implored us that we need to make sure that the work of government continues. Subsequent to that, then there was the back and forth of Councillor Makwarela. Again, the city manager convened a meeting with senior officials where he again said we need to double and redouble our efforts in making sure that we continue to render services and improve on the services that we render. Now, what is important is that for us to continue rendering services, we need to pass the adjustment budget, which was supposed to have been passed at the end of February. That didn't happen because we didn't have the mayor and we didn't have the mayoral committee. So city manager is engaged with National Treasury and asked for an extension, and the extension was granted until the end of March. So we are hoping that all these processes will be concluded so that we can pass the adjustment budget. If we are unable to pass the adjustment budget, then services in the city of Tshwane will ground to a halt. and you know the consequences thereof. We may even be placed under administration, and it's something that we're not looking forward to. Done. Thank you.